It's no secret that for the very best, and even some slightly below that standard, football can be a very lucrative business. There are already footballers earning in excess of £1 million a week, and for a number of years now, it has been pretty standard practice for players to have extra incentives layered into their contracts. Just as you can be fined some pretty hefty sums for turning up late to training or having your phone ring during a team meeting, you can also be very well rewarded for making your first team appearance or winning an international cap. One of the oldest and most lucrative contract clauses is the goal bonus. There are a number of players, including Sheffield United duo John Lundstrom and John Fleck, who reportedly have goal bonuses which are larger than their basic weekly salary. For fringe players, youngsters, and those playing in lower league divisions in particular, goal bonuses can be a really important way in which to increase their pay. Today's video isn't about players who rely most on their goal bonuses though, but rather 7 players who will be very comfortable even without them. Here are the 7 highest goal bonuses in world football. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Harry Kane, £45,000. There are actually 8 players in this 7, since it is a tie in 7th place between the 2 most prolific strikers in North London. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is said to be the second best paid player at Arsenal, trailing only Mesut Ozil, with a reported salary of £180,000 a week. In addition to his basic pay, Aubameyang also has some hefty appearance and goal bonuses, along with some extra incentives tied to Arsenal's overall performance in competitions such as the Premier League, the Champions League, and the FA Cup. That is pretty standard practice for a player of his calibre, and a tally of 56 goals since arriving in the Emirates means if Aubameyang's goal bonus is indeed £45,000, he ought to have earned over £2.5 million in goal bonuses alone in North London. Tottenham, meanwhile, are well known for being very strict in their wage structure, but also rather generous in terms of bonuses to compensate. Harry Kane has reaped the rewards of that, since a reported £45,000 goal bonus is very useful to someone who scores as prolifically as the England captain does. Kane has scored 181 goals for Tottenham in total, although he only signed his current deal in June 2018. In fairness, as lucrative as Kane's goal bonuses may be, he could earn far more overall with a move away from Spurs, but he's yet to try and push for a move away from the club. N'Golo Kante, £50,000. Not all goal bonuses go to players who are likely to be regularly among the goals, and you'd feel a bit safer handing N'Golo Kante a generous goal bonus given his rather miserly returns in comparison to Harry Kane or Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The 28-year-old Frenchman, who has won 3 trophies at Stamford Bridge, is said to be the best paid player of the club. Despite his most recent deal reportedly being worth close to £300,000 a week, Kante appears to have kept his feet firmly planted to the ground, famously still driving a second-hand Mini Cooper S, which he bought when he first arrived in England with Leicester City. Kante is the least prolific player in this 7, having scored a career total of 23 goals in more than 350 games for both club and country, although he has become a little more dangerous in front of goal in recent times. Last season was the most prolific of the chirpy little Frenchman's career, as he bagged 5 goals, playing a little further forward under Maurizio Sarri. He's continued in a similar vein under Frank Lampard this season, scoring 3 goals in 18 outings, including a stunner against Liverpool which was nominated for the Premier League Goal of the Month award, and a really well-taken finish away at Manchester City. Every one of those goals earned Kante around twice the median UK annual salary, but then again, he is really good. Paul Pogba, £50,000. There are 4 players in this 7 tied on goal bonuses worth £50,000 every time they find the back of the net, and Paul Pogba is the second of those 4. The much discussed Manchester United midfielder has had a topsy-turvy time in England since rejoining the Red Devils for a then world record fee in 2016. Signed from Juventus for a reported £89 million, expectations were high on the returning Frenchman, and his attitude and application have been called into question at times, whether one considers those criticisms to be fair or not. An incredibly gifted footballer, Pogba had the most productive campaign of his career last season, scoring 16 goals, many of which were from the penalty spot. Come to think of it, when you think of a reported £50,000 goal bonus, it's little wonder players argue over who gets to take a free shot at the goal from just 12 yards out. If I had a goal bonus worth £50,000, I'd probably shoot every time the ball came anywhere near me. But then again, I don't earn close to £300,000 a week, regardless of my performance levels. In total, Paul Pogba has scored 31 goals in 143 games for Manchester United, although he is yet to score in just 8 outings so far this term. By the end of this season, Pogba will have just a year left on his contract at Old Trafford, and it's difficult to see either a future for him at the club or Manchester United recouping the enormous fee they paid for him. David Silva, £50,000. Despite being renowned for their lucrative spending since the arrival of Sheikh Mansour at the Etihad, according to the most recent accounts, Manchester City's wage budget is actually said to be only the third highest in the Premier League, lower than those of Manchester United and Liverpool. Although Manchester City's basic salaries are pretty standard by big club standards and relatively reasonable in comparison to clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona, they do have some of the largest bonuses within the sport. David Silva is the first Manchester City player to make this 7, but he won't be the last. Now in his final season at the Etihad, David Silva has been a magnificent servant to the club, and he deserves to go down as one of the finest midfielders of the Premier League era. Energetic, intelligent and brilliant in possession, Silva is well rewarded with a reported salary worth roughly £160,000 a week. In addition to that, Silva is also one of the 4 players in this 7 with a goal bonus said to be worth £50,000. The Spaniard peaked in terms of goal scoring in the 2014-15 season and is better known for creating goals than scoring them himself, but he certainly hasn't been shy in front of goal. Since arriving at the Etihad, Silva has scored 73 goals in 414 games, and he retired from international duty in 2018 as Spain's 4th highest goal scorer of all time. Sergio Aguero, £50,000. The last of our 4 players tied on a reported £50,000 goal bonus, and the second Manchester City player in this 7, one suspects Sergio Aguero has earned rather more through his goal bonuses than David Silva. The most prolific player of the Premier League era in terms of minutes per goal, Aguero has scored a grand total of 246 goals in 358 games for Manchester City, becoming their all-time leading goal scorer more than 2 years ago. If Aguero had a £50,000 goal bonus for the entirety of his time in Manchester, which seems unlikely, he would have made £12.3 million from those 246 goals. Only recently having returned from injury, Aguero shows no signs of letting up in front of goal. He was actually on course for his best ever season prior to that setback early this season, with 15 goals in 20 games so far this season. And yet again this season, no player, not even Jamie Vardy or Danny Ings, has a better minutes per goal ratio than the Argentine. Aguero has averaged a goal every 91 minutes so far this season in the Premier League, with Vardy his next closest competitor, with a goal every 101 minutes. Kevin De Bruyne, £65,000. If there were an assist bonus, then Kevin De Bruyne would have overtaken Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates a little while ago as the wealthiest man on earth, but the Manchester City star still doesn't do too bad out of a goal bonus either. An artist on the pitch, De Bruyne can beat players, score goals and create goals all seemingly without breaking stride, but he's also very athletic, two-footed and a terrific competitor. In his debut campaign with Manchester City, he matched the goal-scoring output of his final season with Wolfsburg, scoring 16 goals and being named as the Citizens' Player of the Year. He hasn't bettered that tally since then, but that is primarily due to the role in which he has been given and the increased goal-scoring output of some of the players in front of him. In total, De Bruyne has scored 43 goals in 189 games for Manchester City, including 7 in 24 so far this season. He's also registered a remarkable 12 assists in just 19 Premier League starts this season, and he's arguably the second finest footballer on earth right now. De Bruyne's supposed goal bonus of £65,000, if accurate, would be the highest in the European game. Aleksandar Prijovic, £215,000. It's easy to see why a lot of people are critical of footballers who vacate the chance to compete at the highest level they are capable of in favour of a move to a less established but more lucrative league. It's also easy to see why some players make the move, with the words £215,000 goal bonus likely to do the trick for most. Aleksandar Prijovic's goal bonus is reportedly more than 3 times larger than any other footballer on earth, which just seems utterly bizarre, especially since I suspect many of you have never heard of him. Born in Switzerland but capped 13 times by Serbia, Prijovic previously spent time in England with Derby County, Yeovil Town and Northampton Town in his teens. He began playing regular football in Switzerland, Sweden and then Turkey before joining Polish outfit Legia Warsaw in 2015. It was a 2017 transfer to Greek giants PAOK that saw Prijovic really announce himself, however, scoring 55 goals in 87 games during his time in Thessaloniki. Prijovic was heavily linked with the move to Leeds United in 2018, but instead, he joined Al Ittihad of the Saudi Professional League. There, the 29-year-old is said to be earning close to £100,000 a week in terms of his basic salary, in addition to a ludicrous reported £215,000 goal bonus. Prijovic has scored 15 goals in 30 games since heading to the Middle East, meaning if those figures are accurate, he would have made more than £3 million from those 15 goals alone. Just as a bit of fun, have a guess how much Lionel Messi would have made in bonuses alone had he had a £215,000 goal bonus throughout his career. The answer is £135,235,000, which is more than Ghana's annual expense on their defence budget and only slightly less than ordering 2 Cokes and 2 sets of popcorn at the cinema. That's it for today's 7. Thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and obviously make sure you're subscribed to HITC Sevens. Also, if you're watching on mobile, just try tapping your screen now. Apparently that is sometimes required to bring up our little subscribe button and a couple of other videos that YouTube thinks you might enjoy.